Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, we're talking about Thacker Pass up in Humboldt County. It's going to be a major center for lithium production, and here is John Evans, the CEO of Lithium Americas, here for the whole show on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Calamity. It lurks around every corner. Or not. That's why UMC Quick Care is around every corner, with locations around the valley. UMC Quick Care, for all your small calamities.
Can't do it. Stupid, like my mom.
We can't do anything at Mommy's because you won't pay child support.
Dad said you cheated, and he's not even sure he's my dad.
Mommy said you left both of us, so she isn't gonna let me see you. I look just like my father.
I'm divorce attorney Marilyn York, and I may represent men, but hate has no gender, only casualties. Please, stop sacrificing your children in your war against your ex.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
The signs and symptoms of cataracts can start out small with subtle changes in your vision. So don't wait. Be proactive and take your vision into your own hands. If you're experiencing the onset of cataracts or just have questions, contact your eye care professional or call Eye Care Associates of Nevada today. Dr. Hiss has years of experience specializing in the surgical correction of eye disorders and has completed over 84,000 vision correcting procedures. At Eye Care Associates of Nevada, we'll change the way you look at the world.
Calamity. It lurks around every corner. Or not. That's why UMC Quick Care is around every corner, with locations around the valley. UMC Quick Care, for all your small calamities.
Nevada Newsmakers Studio is located at the headquarters of the Nevada Trucking Association. Motion and purpose are a truck's greatest virtue.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're delighted to welcome to the program for the first time John Evans. He is the CEO of Lithium Americas, and it is a pleasure to have you on the program, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm personally very excited about your project up at Thacker Pass in Humboldt County, which is just outside of Winnemucca. It seems like a lot of the claims and accusations that have been going on against the project being flushed out in the court by Judge Miranda Dew. What are your thoughts on where we are at this point?
Yeah, I think we feel very positive. I mean, look, there was a lot of misinformation that came out on the project itself. Some of it needed to come out in court, and that even some of the information we didn't know in terms of BLM discussions and past work with tribal communities and so forth. But we always were and remain confident in our actions and how we've moved forward here. And look, I think the majority of folks in the county are very supportive to have the project development, and I know the state government feels the same. And we're excited to be a part of the growth of Nevada and really the implementation of a total supply chain. I mean, Nevada actually been in this business for a long time and in the chemical industry, and I have a lot of experience in the lithium industry running one of the major companies out there. And Nevada is unlike any other place in the U.S. and very few like it in the world, where you've got the complete supply chain from lithium all the way up through cathode and battery manufacturing and even recycling. So I think it's an outstanding opportunity, and we're happy to be part of it.
Can you explain for folks who may not be aware of the scope of Thacker Pass and what it means for the lithium supply, which is so important for not only the electric vehicles and batteries, but for so many other products too?
Sure. So the project itself is very unique. It's we're really blessed in Nevada and the U.S. to have such a large lithium deposit. There are some geologists, when they look at the entire caldera, claim that there's upwards of 150 million tons of lithium. So it's a top 5 asset in the world. It's unconventional versus some of the other techniques that are today, but that actually offers some opportunities to do things in a little bit more sustainable way. The important piece here is that it offers lots of opportunity to grow as our country's demand for lithium continues to grow as well. And there seems to be announcements every single week. I've spoken to major automotive manufacturers, and they've committed tens of billions of dollars to this. So the U.S., I've revised the number upwards, but by 2030, the U.S. will need somewhere around 400,000 tons a year of lithium chemicals. That's about equal to the entire world supply today. The U.S. and North America will be the 3rd largest EV market in the world. And it's important, and I know the OEMs are committed actually to bringing their complete supply chains here to the U.S. I don't think the U.S. will be self-sufficient on lithium, but certainly I know there's a real want and desire to have some control over the entire supply chain, just given some of the issues that we have seen during COVID and that you're continuing to see in things like semiconductors. And in the case of that, as in the case of lithium, you're starting to see real investment in infrastructure being put in the U.S. to try to address some of those gaps so that they don't occur again.
Well, and also the issues with China, for example, as to whether that's a stable place for us to be able to obtain lithium through or from. Are you in conversations with the Department of Defense, as other lithium companies are, like Ioneer, and the recycling plant that's going in Fernley? Because it's become an issue of national security, is it not?
It is. Lithium is classified as a critical mineral. It falls under the same regime now as CFIUS, so it's an area of concern and focus by the government. We've spoken to the Department of the Interior and have a lot more discussions with the Department of Energy. If you look at the infrastructure bill, which recently passed, there's around $6 billion available for grants for various aspects of the supply chain. Really, the area we're focused around is $3 billion of that. And then beyond that, the U.S. Department of Energy and government has opened up a loan guarantee program to help put really attractive capital financing models in place to incentivize companies like ours to build this type of infrastructure in North America and in the U.S. So I wouldn't say that this is a new issue. It was around since the Clinton administration, definitely during the Obama administration, but wasn't talked about as much. Got a lot more press during the Trump administration. And the Biden administration has gone one step further with the publication of industrial policy in the U.S., of which batteries and battery materials are part of, which I'm glad to see, because it's very much a strategic and economic issue for our country.
Is it ironic that there are people within the environmental community who look at lithium mining as a negative rather than as a positive, because without lithium, you're not going to have the clean energy that you need?
Yes, I mean, there's always, and I think part of it too is just due to misinformation, and perhaps I think it's important for all parties to come around and discuss what their concerns are, and that I think there's misinformation in terms of what we're doing and what this industry can do, especially in relation to what's required and what companies are actually willing to do to go above and beyond even to ensure that whatever is built is as sustainable as possible, but also even more importantly too, that economic benefits accrue to the communities that they're in, which is just as important. There's always a couple of groups that are ideologically always going to be opposed, but I pose the same question back to you would to them: what's the solution here? Because if you close your eyes and want to just expect this to be done overseas, global warming is global for a reason. You can't push the problem somewhere else. Better to have things here in jurisdictions and countries where we can trust what we're doing and actually do something about climate change in terms of reducing carbon footprint and funding and supporting an industry where in the U.S., something like 30% of the carbon emitted in the U.S. comes from vehicles. So I think it's a really important issue. It deserves a lot more dialogue because of the misunderstanding. I think it can be cleaned up.
Let's talk about the economic impact for rural Nevada and Humboldt County in particular, because this is going to really improve the working conditions and financial conditions for a lot of people in Humboldt County.
Yes, and we're excited to be part of that, to bring this type of development to northern Humboldt County, which, yes, it's an area that certainly could use opportunities like this. We're in close discussion with the community group, with the communities right local to the project itself, along with tribal community, which is about 30 miles to the north. And, we've had several folks apply for jobs. I think we're over 50 now. We've started job training programs at the behest of the tribal community to the north. And we're talking about other investments, whether they be in things like daycare or schools or road improvements, so that we can help build the type of communities where people want to stay and grow their families and offer generational employment opportunities. So in addition to tax benefits to the state overall and of course to the federal government. So it's a tremendous opportunity to leverage a unique asset that the state has, but also for the local community to really feel the impact of that more than anybody else.
What do you think the lifespan of the mine is as you look at it initially?
It's at least 40 years. It's likely to be a lot longer. I mean, we've cited the project very specifically to avoid ecologically sensitive habitats. And then the last published reports that we have in terms of the resource and reserve is around 14 million tons, which is a top 5 resource in the world. But if you look at there's other portions of even contiguous to that, they aren't added into that. So the asset itself can easily make 80,000 to 100,000 tons of lithium a year. I mean, you could supply a quarter of the country's demand by 2030 out of one location, which is important to think about, because when you think about climate change, life cycle analysis is important in terms of how many times you ship things around the world. Literally, you could set up an ecosystem where it only ships around the state of Nevada. You do all of the processing the chemicals in Nevada, you ship it to a cathode manufacturer in Nevada, make a battery in Nevada, and actually recycle the battery in Nevada too. So that by itself reduces the impact to the environment.
What kind of job numbers are we looking at here? First of all, in construction and then long term?
Yeah, so construction is certainly going to be about 1,000 people. Long term, we're looking at 300 full-time employees. So these are good paying jobs, well above the state average. It's a mixture of skilled hourly as long as professional employees as well. So I think it's a great opportunity, and it's also an opportunity we want to help train and give people the skills that they need, whether that's through our own training programs in conjunction with institutions like Great Basin College or University of Nevada, Reno. We're already starting to look at that. We've had good discussions with UNR. We're actually collaborating on the Application Development Center, which we're building out in Reno now. We want their students as interns and start to build a pipeline where we have that professional pipeline, but we also want to do the same thing locally in the communities in Humboldt County around skill sets so that we preferentially hire from the local community.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back more on lithium, a most important topic, after this timeout.
7 at 7 is available anytime, anywhere.
I'm Riley Smith with your Vegas Golden Knights. Watch 7 minutes of nonstop news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Streaming on LVRJ.com and Twitter, powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Modern boutique Ahern Hotel and Events Center in Las Vegas. Host meetings and events on 2 floors. Stay in luxurious rooms and suites. Unlimited branding opportunities. Regional Italian cuisine by Chef Mark Segrisi. Flexible event spaces. Full buyout options. Visit ahernhotel.com today.
I'm Jeff Gehrman, an investigative reporter with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. I'm your guide for Season 2 of Mobbed Up, The Fight for Las Vegas.
You're in with every gangster and hoodlum in the United States. I don't go for that, Mr. Kennedy. I don't go for that kind of action.
I was on television accused of fronting for the mob.
Subscribe to Mobbed Up, The Fight for Las Vegas, Season 2, today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Before the masks, before the distancing, before the world changed, UMC was ready. Our response to COVID-19 began before the crisis did, with our own team of infectious disease experts who've spent their careers planning for this moment. With a pandemic response plan, we'd practiced again and again, and by blazing new trails in large-scale testing, including every patient we admit. Always ready. UMC.
7 at 7 is available anytime, anywhere.
I'm Riley Smith with your Vegas Golden Knights. Watch 7 minutes of nonstop news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Streaming on LVRJ.com and YouTube. Powered by the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with John Evans. He's the CEO of Lithium Americas. They are going to build Thacker Pass. It's already underway up in Humboldt County. Let me ask you about this, because this comes up a lot with other projects that have been discussed in Nevada and some that have been turned away, which are water issues. You've got water hearings coming up. What are you anticipating?
We anticipate that we'll be successful there as well, and to be able to explain to concerned members of the community that what we're doing here is efficient and economic as possible or conserve as much as possible from the water situation. We draw our water from the Quinn Valley. Of course, as you know, those water rights already existed. We purchased those, and when they're applied from agriculture use to mining and milling use, we have to take a discount. So it's actually only 80% of the water rights is actually what we'll actually use. The draw itself is 1% or less of the actual total draw of the existing water rights that are there. So we're not adding water rights or usage, they already exist. Additionally, the way we've designed the facility, it's to be as conserve as much water as possible. So we recycle a lot of water and we try to reuse as much as possible. If you compare this project to a brine-based project or a geothermal-based project, which are one and the same, or a spodumene-based project, our actually water use per capita per ton is less than that. And I'll say that with authority because a lot of folks are talking about direct lithium extraction. I ran the only direct lithium extraction operation in the world in Argentina. That operation uses about 85 liters a second of fresh water to make 20,000 tons a year. We'll use 100 liters per second roughly in Nevada to make 40,000 tons a year. So we have kept in mind here, and as part of our overall strategy, whether it be carbon neutral for power, the least amount of water usage as possible, limiting air emissions as much as possible. Even the way we've designed our buildings in terms of their color, so that they're not a visual pollution. All those things are being considered. It's not the cheapest way to do it. It's the right way to do it, though.
And it's interesting, and maybe a lot of people don't realize this, but it's been going on for a long time, is that most of the growth in northern Nevada, in the Reno-Sparks area, as well as in other parts of the state, the way you get the water is to convert it from agricultural rights over to other uses like industrial or residential. That's how you end up having the availability of water, because sometimes it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to be growing the most thirsty crops in the middle of a desert. Let me ask you this. There are some people that think that this whole lithium thing is just a fad. How do you respond to people that talk like that?
No, the government doesn't need to do anything anymore in terms of air regulations and so forth. The market has made its decision already, and so which is as it should be. If you look at automotive companies like Ford or General Motors, as recently as yesterday, Nissan, folks have now committed, whether it be their fleet compositions by 2030. You can see it in the launch of the F-150 or the Mach-E, which has come out from Ford. Orders are through the roof. Wait times are 6 to 8 months. The industry is changing right before us, and it's important. Lithium is an important component of that. It's one that's maybe thought last, but not. It's on the radar now of the automotive companies, but the industry is completely changing, and demand is outstripping supply right now. So the real focus is on making sure that there's a balanced supply chain and that you can actually have enough material. So I don't think this is going away anytime soon. You'll ask me about recycling. Yes, recycling will play a place, but you have to have the batteries made first before you can recycle them. Today, it wouldn't make any sense for you to recycle your cell phone battery. You'd throw the lithium away. It's cheaper to buy new. In 10 years, when cars, it's about the life of a car, you'll have enough batteries where our number is about by 2035, and this is supported by the International Energy Association, you'll have about 10 to 12% of the lithium recycled. It'll go up from there. That's the one unique thing here where look at the lead acid battery. We don't mine a lot of lead anymore, but it took about 70 or 80 years for that circular supply chain where lead now is recycled. Lithium, I think you have an opportunity to make that 10 or 15% in 15 years. much larger over time as you have more and more of these batteries that are need to be recycled. And economically, a big battery like that, you'll have enough to make sense to do that.
All right, let's take another break. We'll be back with more with John Evans from Lithium Americas after this timeout. I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker. Entertainment here at the Carson Valley Inn is extraordinary.
Yeah, super proud of the TJ's Corral, our outdoor venue, about 1,500 seats. We've had first-class entertainment out there. We've had Merle Haggard, we've had Chris Young, we've had Lee Brice a couple times, we've had Pat Benatar, Joan Jett, who's in the Hall of Fame. We're real proud out there, and it's just a great time. Watch CarsonValleyInn.com and grab those tickets early. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
Dimitri Prine here for Design Outdoor. At Design Outdoor, we specialize in all hardscapes, pavers, and walls you'll need for everything, from wonderful small yards to full-blown outdoor living. And we only refer the best contractors to make your vision a reality. Our store and backyard are located at 11600 South Virginia, just north of DeMonte Ranch Parkway. Visit designoutdoor.com or call us at 851-9499.
I'm men's rights attorney Marilyn York, and because I represent men in all family law matters, women often call me gender traitor, woman hater, and even disgusting. So why represent men and target myself with these offensive monikers? It's simple. Children with fathers in their lives are 6 times less likely to drop out of school, 15 times less likely to go to prison, and 5 times less likely to commit suicide. So ladies, you can hate me, but please love your children more than you hate their fathers.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with John Evans. He is the CEO of Lithium Americas. They are going to be producing lithium out of Thacker Pass up near Winnemucca. John, your company just got involved in a major purchase in Argentina. And my question to you is, why does this matter to Nevada?
It really doesn't.
Okay, well then that answers that.
Yeah. I mean, you look at our company, we have a lot on our plate. I have one project coming online next year in Argentina, Thacker Pass. We expect to be doing pre-construction, hopefully by the end of the first half next year, and actually starting construction of the second half. That's very high priority. This project that we actually battled out with CATL is probably 18 months behind that. We still have more exploration work to do in addition to relooking at the engineering before that actually gets put forward. So that's probably a later 2023 event. The asset price of that actually was very attractive, and we have a lot of experience, and we know the brine chemistry really well. So we saw it as a last opportunity to perhaps get an asset like that, at least in that part of the world, for a price that was immediately accretive to us and our shareholders, and one that we felt we could get a lot of value out of. So we are looking around in Nevada, California, other places like that. Our geology team has now unleashed itself on Canada as well. So I think you're going to see a lot more development in the US and Canada, especially given where the industry is going.
Okay, so do you think, with what you're saying now, that there is potential down the road for export of lithium?
It could be. It depends how many projects in the US are built. Right now, there's only a handful that are really at a stage where I would say that they're going to be put in production, between Nevada, potentially Arkansas, North Carolina. Those are sort of your top areas right now. If I added them all up, by assuming they were in production by 2025, it's a pretty small number. You're talking about maybe a portion of the U.S.'s production. It's going to be difficult for the U.S. at this stage, given it takes a long time to get things done in this country, and we're well behind, for us to be in a position where we'll have surplus lithium chemicals to be able to send offshore. It's one of the reasons why we're already talking to Korean and Japanese companies. They want to be here too. Just like Toyota and others came here and built car factories, they want to do the same thing for the rest of their supply chains, because between the US and Canada, we have the resources here. Europe doesn't. Japan and Korea don't. Outside of South America and Africa, the US and Canada are actually blessed with resources like this.
And you're seeing more and more companies, they're investing literally billions of dollars in chip manufacturing plants, for example, in the United States, just because of what we were seeing across the world here with these supply chain problems. That just is a phenomenal amount of potential growth for the United States.
Yeah, so with Samsung, I think it was $17 billion. That came on the heels of Ford and SK Innovation for battery manufacturing in Kentucky and Tennessee, $11 billion. And these are astronomical numbers that are going to provide great jobs and economic growth for our country, and also keep our supply chains competitive.
Well, the best of luck with this. If people have not already come to your website, it is a terrific website with some fabulous video on there. I was on there a couple of days ago in preparation for this interview, and so I would really recommend people taking a look at it. Please keep us posted on this project as it continues. It's great news for Humboldt County, great news for Nevada, but I think great news for the United States. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, Sam.
Thank you, and we'll be right back. Brian Culpa Photography was born in the rolling hills of Massachusetts, and now he can help you experience the stunning beauty of Nevada in a whole new way through the power of flight. Flying has always been a passion for Brian, and at Brian Culpa Photography, he can make your imagination soar. Brian has the creative mind and tools to tell your unique story. Experience the bird's eye view at brianculpaphotography.com.
Hi, my name's Marilyn Miner, and I'm sure you'd agree that Nevada's a very special place to live. I was born here, and my husband and I have raised our family here. I feel it's a privilege to live and work in the Truckee Meadows. I especially enjoy helping my clients reach their real estate goals. Sometimes the smallest details provide the greatest satisfaction. I'd be complimented to talk to you about your next move.
Call Marilyn Miner at Dixon Realty, 742-1280, or log on to marilynminer.com.
Safety. We all think about it. You think about it when he buckles in, when you check your mirrors and put away your phone. RTC thinks about safety too. In fact, we create it. Center turn lanes mean fewer blind spots. Bike lanes keep cyclists and you safe. Roundabouts reduce injury collisions, and all these crosswalks are designed to keep families like yours safe. Safety is your priority, and it's ours too. Every day, in everything we do.
Pro Group Management is the place where companies can find workers' comp solutions that are designed to meet their specific business requirements. As regulations evolve, Pro Group takes a proactive approach to clear the path to make sure your business stays ahead of the curve. Knowing your workers' comp program is optimized, you can focus on other important matters related to your growing business. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Don't forget, another way of watching Nevada Newsmakers is to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Nevada Newsmakers on YouTube. We'll see you on the next broadcast.